The UK is on the verge of great changes, and it all starts with a petition. What began as a simple request for new elections has grown into a real social movement. More than 1 million signatures are not just numbers, they are the voice of the people, which sounds loud and clear. British society doesn't just demand change, it demands justice and hope for a better future. People feel deeply disappointed with the leadership, which, in their opinion, betrayed their trust. This initially modest call for change has turned into a powerful stream, attracting the attention of not only citizens but also world leaders.
Let's talk to Isabel Oakeshott, to talk international editor, of course, as well, on the occasion that, Isabel, we've got now 1.912 signatures on this this petition that the BBC doesn't want to mention, Sky doesn't want to mention it, so you'll have to listen to talk if you want to hear it being talked about. But quite an extraordinary number of people don't seem to think the government are doing a very good job.
What a damning indictment it is on a government that's only been in power for a few months. I mean, this is quite extraordinary. It's only been going for, 24, 36 hours or something, this petition. And of course, Labour will say, oh, it's meaningless, shrug, whatever. But the truth is, this is now gathering global.
The key question now is whether the government will hear the voice of the people before it is too late. More than 1 million people have signed a petition demanding new elections in the UK be held immediately. But what once seemed like a petty and almost absurd idea has now grown into a powerful political movement that cannot be ignored. People are on edge, they are demanding change right now. Their patience has run out, and they are tired of waiting for another 4 years of government, which, in their opinion, simply does not work. The point is very clear: they are hungry for new elections, and they want them as soon as possible.
And it doesn't have any power as such. There's probably a way of getting out of having a debate on it, because there's certain clause in the small print, if you like, about whether these motions have to be debated that would allow a get out. But it's a very, very powerful insight into just how disillusioned people are already.
Exactly right. And it does make Keir Starmer look on the international stage like a bit of a sort of a wet fish, doesn't it? It looks like he's a dud, because wherever he goes now, people will go, oh yeah, I'm told, I haven't checked this, but there are now more people who want to have another election than actually voted for the Green Party. So I dare say that number will continue to rise.
This petition is not just a set of numbers, it is a wake-up call that is being heard all over the country. The British public, once speechless before government promises, now declares with a loud voice patience is exhausted. What caused this violent outburst of discontent? More and more people are beginning to realize that Keir Starmer has not fulfilled his promises. It is precisely those promises that once sparked the hope that he would become the solution to Britain's political problems that now seem empty words. After many years of disappointment and unfulfilled expectations, people are ready to look for something completely new. The public is asking a burning question: is Starmer's leadership really what Britain needs at this critical moment?
But it makes him look like he's a sort of a dead duck, a walking disaster, because everything he does seems to make people more and more upset. I mean, this morning we've got the CBI, the latest people to come forward to say the budget is an absolute disaster. But Rain Newton-Smith, and I mean, I'm not a big fan of the CBI, as I'm sure you're not either, but they say we must warn today that tax rises like this must never again be done to business. Most companies are going to freeze their hiring plans. Some are going to be forced to lay people off. Some are looking to delay pay rises. You know, we've got the pensioners up in arms, the farmers up in arms. Even Dan Needle, the Labour apparatchik tax expert, has come out and said, yeah, they've got it wrong on farming.
At first it seemed that this petition would cause only fleeting laughter and would not attract serious attention. But the reality turned out to be completely different. With over 1 million signatures, this petition has turned into a powerful and significant phenomenon that cannot be ignored. The UK is finally beginning to realize the critical situation it finds itself in. This petition is a cry of the soul, reflecting the growing discontent of society. People look around and wonder, how did we get to this point? How could things get so bad that a petition like this could garner such incredible support? The importance of this petition lies not only in the impressive number of signatures, but also in the fact that it is no longer a joke. What was once perceived as a mild protest or temporary discontent has now become a loud and undeniable expression of anger and frustration. The scale of this movement is a real turning point. The UK is ready to seriously review its leadership and urgently demand change.
Oh dear, oh dear. I mean, look, the Prime Minister doesn't really need any help, does he, to look like a muppet? Because he already did look like a muppet before this petition. The trouble is, just looking at him, he just doesn't seem to carry any authority. He looks weak and he looks like a man, just a sort of grey, managerial figure who's frankly struggling even to manage a small team, never mind a country.
Right.
It is really concerning for the fact that we've still got another 4 or 5 years of this, and this budget, this blunder budget, is unraveling really rapidly.
The reaction of people around the world to the events in the UK is truly explosive. A prime example of this is Elon Musk. This famous billionaire entrepreneur could not contain his shock at the political storms engulfing the country. On his social media, Musk openly expressed shock and bewilderment about what is happening in the UK. His reaction is not just the opinion of one person, it is a powerful signal of how critical the situation has become. When an influential figure like Musk draws attention to these events, it becomes obvious that what is happening in the UK has long gone beyond local issues. The eyes of the whole world are riveted on this country, and everyone is watching with bated breath how the petition for the resignation of the current leadership is rapidly gaining popularity.
It will hold a mirror up. You know, I think one thing, has Elon Musk retweeted this or something? Is this why it's going tonto? He's going to be on it at some point.
I have a feeling,
what time is it in America?
I have a feeling if it's not him, it's one of his elves. Or
Someone,
whatever. Somebody
at some point, Musk is going to be on this, and it's all hell's going to break loose. But it's 520,000 now. But this is the thing. It does hold a mirror up to the Labour Party. Yeah. It does make them realise that, you know, teething problems, perhaps, but actually, to me, it seems like a government that is so out of step with its people, but worryingly intransigent.
That's the thing. They'll look at this and they'll ignore it. Like, let's look at the migrant crisis as a perfect example. Does anybody remember who Yvette Cooper is? Where has she been? On one of the biggest issues that faces this country, she is nowhere. The left, and as a general rule, will ignore a crisis if they can't fix it by blaming somebody.
Musk's distrust is absolutely justified. If you look at what is happening in the country, it becomes clear everything is going to the abyss. Under Keir Starmer's leadership, the UK has faced fierce criticism on a variety of key issues. It's not just one failed policy or unfulfilled promise, it's a whole chain of failures that cause people to lose faith that Starmer is capable of leading the country on the path to prosperity. And when influential figures like Musk begin to pay attention to these disturbing events, it only increases public concern.
What do you think about what Elon Musk has been tweeting about Britain and the Prime Minister over the last few days?
Well, what I say is that all social media companies have responsibilities as well to deal with fake news. We've seen a lot of fake information being shared on online platforms. We've seen a lot of hate, and people have a responsibility to not conduct themselves and to amplify that, but actually to deal with the online misinformation, but also not to spread that hate. And, you know, we don't want to see that, whether that's online or offline, and people who are online spreading violence and inciting violence will be met with the law, as well as those that turn up and try and throw missiles at police and at our communities.
One of the most painful issues for British society has been the growth of migration. People are desperate, because many believe that the current policy opens the door to too many migrants, which creates enormous pressure on the already depleted resources of the country. People are struggling to survive, and many feel that the government is not doing anything to protect their interests. For most, this is not a question of hatred of migrants, but a desire to distribute resources fairly and not forget about the needs of their citizens. But the problems don't end there.
But I did have a little exchange, Bev, with the Prime Minister, because I was in the conference hotel and he, surprisingly, came down for dinner. You knew he was on his way because there was a huge buzz in the room. He had all his security guards with him. I was trying to see if he was drinking alcohol, but couldn't see from where I was sitting. Anyways, he was walking past. I felt this arm on my shoulder. "Hey, Tory boy," he said, in his usual dynamic, interesting voice. "Are you being nice about me or awful about me?" I said, "Well, frankly, Prime Minister, it's not difficult to be difficult for the government at the moment because you're making it rather easy for us." He changed the subject to talk about the football, which of course lost me. But I did because Arsenal were playing yesterday, Manchester City and Liverpool. Well, I don't know who they were playing, but anyway, I said, "Did you go and see the game?" And he looked at me and said, "I don't think that would be appropriate at the moment. Do you?" Probably not, when you see all the rows he's got into about accepting thousands of pounds worth of free tickets from Arsenal Football Club.
Under Starmer's leadership, there has also been a sharp increase in taxes in the UK, which has become a heavy burden for both ordinary people and companies. These new tax burdens have only exacerbated the financial difficulties of those who are already struggling to make ends meet. What did Keir Starmer promise the people just 10 weeks ago? He assured that he would fight the gangs, find a border controller, and put an end to this. But where are the results? Nothing has changed. To be honest, I'm looking at this and I think the situation is only going to get worse. We must not tolerate how our pensioners are freezing, while illegal migrants living in 4-star hotels are now moving to places where convicts are being held. What do you think about this video? Share your thoughts in the comments. See you.